The sports complex redevelopment keeps hitting the headlines, with the Philadelphia Eagles now sending out a survey about a new stadium versus renovating the existing Lincoln Financial Field. We'll talk about what it all means next in respect to the sports complex as well as surrounding real estate. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team about how these implications might impact your real estate plans, you can do that with the link in the comments. The Philadelphia Eagles sent out a survey to season ticket holders asking questions about existing renovations to Lincoln Financial Field, as well as the concept of a new stadium. And this has been spurred by Comcast Spectacor and the Sixers, and opening the downtown arena for the Sixers, now recommitting to the sports complex in South Philadelphia. And the Eagles have been the wild card here. So once the Sixers and Philadelphia Flyers said they were committed to the sports complex and redeveloping it, the Philadelphia Phillies have also supported that with retail, mixed use, and really expanding the complex down there past Xfinity Live. Remember, a few years ago, there was supposed to be a gaming arena and small concert venue that was built, which never happened. And now, ahead of the Super Bowl, Jeffrey Lurie came out and answered a question about a roofed stadium specifically, because roofed stadiums can host Super Bowls and NCAA Final Fours. And the NFL has a 50-degree minimum temperature threshold, which obviously we don't have here in Philadelphia, to make sure you can host a Super Bowl, which means more money for the Eagles owner. So his comment was, I don't have a strong opinion about it because you're torn. I love outdoor football. I love the cold games. I like the hot games. I like the snow games. On the other hand, does Philadelphia deserve to host the Super Bowl, NCAA Final Four, lots of great events? It's an incredible sports city. Does it deserve that? Yes. So we have to balance all those things. And once the Sixers gave up the 76th place idea and Comcast Spectacor and all them united, there was a survey sent out to Eagles fans and Eagles season ticket holders. And it said specifically the Eagles are exploring both the renovation of Lincoln Financial Field and the potential development of an entirely new stadium. The survey specifically focuses on the renovation option. That was one. And they asked about improved parking and some different things. But there was another survey that went out that asked about the stadium itself and building a new one. So there's been small focus groups on all these different things. And what we're finding here is that now there's rumors that there's a hypothetical building of a new stadium, and not at the sports complex. It was talked about the Franklin Mills Mall in the Northeast. People were asked how far they were willing to travel for games. So obviously, this is something the Eagles are considering, because remember, Lincoln Financial Field is owned by the city of Philadelphia. Their lease is up in 7 or 8 years, and there's some key advantages, apparently, to building at Franklin Mills, where transportation could be a little better. Building a new stadium there also has the option of, the Pennsylvania Turnpike, I-95, an existing parking infrastructure, because getting in and out of the sports complex is a disaster. And there's also a large, relatively flat land parcel that could provide plenty of space for a state-of-the-art complex, creating hotels, retail, entertainment, a year-round destination. So what happens here, right? None of this is set in stone. This is all kind of early, and there are some implications here, because there's land acquisition and development opportunities. That could be a real boost for the Northeast in terms of home values, in terms of jobs, in terms of maybe new communities being built up there, where you don't see a lot of new home development in Northeast Philadelphia. And this is what's called placemaking, which is creating an entertainment district. In South Philadelphia, there's maybe the redevelopment of underutilized lots into hotels and residential spaces, because there's a lot of weird industrial down there. So either one of these places could really benefit from this. If you look at SoFi Stadium in LA, they integrated a 6,000-seat performance venue and a 2.5-acre park, and it drove a 10 to 15% rise in nearby commercial rents post the construction. So there's history here. There's data that supports this. And the sports complex's 200 acres of prime redevelopment potential could increase land values by 10 to 20%. So that's one thing to think about, whether it's in the Northeast or it's down in South Philadelphia. There's also property values that they could rise by anywhere from 5 to 15%. When they were talking about 76th place, a lot of folks called and said, hey, I want to get in on Chinatown. I want to get in on the development opportunity down there. I wouldn't make any purchases until you know this is a done deal. If you look at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, which opened in 2020, there was a 12% year-over-year increase in nearby commercial property values and residential property values, according to local assessments in Las Vegas. And then there's maybe a property tax abatement that could benefit the Eagles. They pay right now $1.5 million annually in lease fees to the city. A new $2 billion stadium could require $800 million to $1 billion in public subsidies based on the current trends in the NFL. And median public share is 44% of costs. So that could raise taxes, hotel tax, sales tax, maybe even suppress some real estate investment in other places, because subsidies for stadiums, they typically regressively redistribute income, with taxpayers footing the bill that exceed the benefits by 20 to 50%. So, and when you look at local employment, there's some positives there where you can see a 5% increase in local employment, and that typically lasts a couple years, and that could stimulate demand for nearby housing. Foot traffic could generate another 11 to 15 million annually in spillover spending, according to some studies of NFL venues back in 2018. But there's also, the negative that there's not going to be a net growth in per capita income. It might be very short term. So the key things to think about is, what area is this new stadium going to go in? Are they going to renovate, or are they going to build a new one? I would imagine they're probably pushing for building a new one because of the ability to have Final Fours and have a Super Bowl. That's something that could be pretty attractive. We've had Super Bowls in Minnesota, okay? The Eagles, I believe they won one there, Nick. I think that's when they won against the Patriots. Go Birds. They've had Super Bowls in a lot of other cities where they have these dome stadiums now. So obviously that's a draw, and there could be some modest boosts in real estate. There could be some temporary economic spillover. I think the real question here is, do you want everything in one place or not? Because the transportation down there, with these pending septic cuts happening in like 4 or 5 days, you're going to have a lot less trains going to South Philadelphia. They're not going to have the extra 9 or 10 trains after a game. It's going to be 3 or 4. You're not going to have the same regional rail lines going down there, and getting in and out of the sports complex is a disaster. So I think there is some positive there versus, renovating versus a new stadium. The cost for a new stadium is going to be a lot higher, and the public dollars are going to be significant there. There could be, high land and development impact with a new stadium versus a low impact for the renovation. Property value boost for a new stadium, again, 5 to 15% in a 2-mile radius in the short term. But the renovation could actually do more for South Philadelphia, because now you got this whole complex down there. It's a destination where everything is. And obviously there's a better tax burden on renovating the existing stadium for people that live in the greater Philadelphia area and that live in the city versus building the new one. And negligible economic or net real estate benefit for the renovation, and maybe, some temporary employment coming from a new stadium. So I think they're going to push for a new stadium. I think they want a new one down there or somewhere else, but renovating the existing link could make sense as well. We're going to have to watch this here, because the Eagles have not committed to anything, and it could really reshape not only where people go to have fun and where people go to see games, but what other concerts are coming there, right? I mean, do you have the stadium concerts going to the Northeast now? This is all stuff to think about as the Eagles make their next decision that's 7 or 8 years away, which is a long time away, but it's also a lot closer than you might think.